Hello and welcome to Against the Storm, patch 0.43, the Rainpunk update, part 2. In this update, they take what they did in the last update and take a bunch of input from the community, a ton of input, and have made what they kind of hoped to get out of this Rainpunk system. At least what I think they hoped, or what they think they hoped to get out of the Rainpunk system. And also made a lot of changes to some other aspects of the game as a result. So the first big thing is they revamped the Rain Collector. That's the building where you collect Spark Dew. Now it collects infused rainwater instead. Each season will produce that season's matching rainwater. So drizzle water and drizzle, clearance water and clearance, storm water during storm. Which that means that Spark Dew is gone. Spark Dew is really only used in a couple of different places anyway, and so instead of using Spark Dew in those places, they've given you the option to use one or more, including up to all three, of the different infused rainwater types. So they've kind of replaced it with one with the other, but you might be wondering, well, in Rainpunk Update Part 1, rainwater was kind of this esoteric resource that was magically transported from the geysers to a storage that was not really there but not really there, and then magically transported to the buildings to be used for their boosting. And that is still true. However, they're also available to the villagers as part of the normal storage system to use in those types of recipes, say for crystallized dew, as well as for glade events where Spark Dew was used before, and any other place where you might have used Spark Dew before. I think there's one other place that I might come across later as we go through the patch notes. They've added 5 new glade events tied to Blightrot, because Blightrot has also been changed slightly again. As many of you may have noticed while playing an update or watching an update or a town in Part 1, Blightrot was almost gone from the game. If you didn't turn on the new any of the new Rainpunk engines, you didn't get any Blightrot. So now Blightrot can come from a few other sources in the game, including these glade events. And so then you will have some Blightrot in your town. They've also added a prestige modifier that if you're playing in the prestige tier from, I believe, prestige 2 and beyond, that you can actually have extra blight generated as part of that modifier. There are 6 new forest mysteries, all tied into the blight. So they will also work, or tied into the blight and Rainpunk systems. Blight from the sky, for example, Blightrot seems to grow uncontrollably in this region. Every storm, 2 Blightrot cysts appear in the settlement, multiplied by the number of years that have passed. That's just one example. There are, of course, 5 more. There are also 4 new cornerstones that are tied to the Rainpunk system. Some of them offer boosting of, boosted production of rainwater. Some of them use the rainwater to boost other production. New building, the Advanced Rain Collector. It works the same as the regular Rain Collector, except that it's faster and produces a lot more, has a larger tank, and it is unlocked as a normal blueprint after reaching level 15. So in that way, it works like the different types of camps, except that you get to the Advanced Rain Collector much later in the game, at all, really. The other ones are available from the beginning, but you get it much later in the game, and so therefore the regular Rain Collector is more powerful than the regular basic camps, the small camps, but then the Advanced Rain Collector is also more powerful than the advanced camps, or the full-size camps. You still get the regular Rain Collector as an essential blueprint with every town, so you don't have to worry about not being able to collect the rainwater using that. The geyser pumps now produce a lot more. They have a larger tank, and they can be upgraded. The first upgrade adds an automaton that will manage and operate the geyser pump for you. It doesn't eat, it doesn't rest, it just works. They do not produce double yields, however. With all of the new stuff in the update, there's also, of course, a bunch of balance UI UX type of changes. A few of the balance changes we'll go through. The Blightrot footprint mechanic was removed. Instead, Blightrot cysts will now be generated for every X water used in rain engines. This reduces a lot of the convolution in the Blightrot system and just makes it easier for you to follow. The Rainpunk UI will show a progress bar that slowly fills up for every unit of water used. Once it's full, a cyst will appear and the bar will reset. Hovering over it will display a tooltip with more detailed calculations. The greenhouse and clay pit no longer allow you to install rain engines. Instead, they use rainwater directly to produce goods. This is one of those other uses of rainwater that I forgot about for a moment. The greenhouse uses drizzle water. The clay pit uses clearance water. All pipe recipes have been rebalanced and changed, and the trading value has been changed. It's a lot cheaper to buy and make them. Blightrot cysts and corruption are generated at a higher base speed, which was similar to the previous, which is now similar to the previous Prestige 2 modifier. So the new Prestige 2 modifier is much faster. As I mentioned, Spark Dew is gone. Crystallized Dew can be made from any of the infused rainwaters. Infused tools can be made with any of the infused rainwaters. Amber can be made with any of the infused rainwaters. And orders that required Spark Dew and or Rain Collector were rebalanced and now require rainwater. I don't know if they're requiring a specific kind of rainwater or if they're just requiring any. We'll have to see when we get in there. Blade events that required Spark Dew now require a specific type of rainwater. Ruins that previously had Spark Dew in them now give resin or pipes. Excuse me. The giant protofungus in the marshland now has insects as a secondary resource instead of Spark Dew. That's interesting. Not a bad thing, but interesting. The overheating forest mystery now requires drizzle water instead of Spark Dew, and traders no longer buy or sell Spark Dew, of course. Mystery boxes sold by the Hooded Trickster will also not have Spark Dew in them, so it's effectively gone. The geyser spawn rate has been slightly lowered. I know there were some comments that some people had not encountered them yet, or had not encountered them easily. In my town, I got 2 in the first 2 glades, I think, or something like that. But the rate has been lowered because you can now get rainwater at rain collectors. The number of pipes required for upgrades in the archaeologist's office and mine has been increased, as well as the number of pipes required for solving Rainpunk-style glade events. They removed a couple of forest mysteries, Fermented Rain and Crimson Rainfall, because they don't fit the new mechanic. And the efficiency perk in rain engines has gone from 40% boost to 50% boost. And the reliability perk has gone from a 20% chance to a 25% chance for double yields. Zideni Stormfeather, the trader, is unlocked at level 16 instead of 15. You can now use pipes in the final stage of the archaeological discoveries, and you can use drizzle water in the first stage of the discoveries. Small hearths now cost 2 wildfire essences. However, the trade value was reduced by almost half, and you now get twice as many wildfire essences at the start of the game. What I suspect is the ones you get from random glade events and caches and things has not changed. Actually, I lied. It has changed. It's been increased, but I doubt it's been doubled. There is an increased chance for copper ore from clay deposits. Delivery orders have a decreased amount of rainwater required. The water delivery now requires 40, 70, 100 drizzle water, and infused rainwater requires 50, 75, 100 drizzle and clearance water. The hostility penalty from the darkest shadow effect has been reduced from 80 to 50. Geysers have been added to the resource overlay, that's the B hotkey. There's also a Rainpunk overlay with the tab hotkey. If there's no rain engines installed, the overlay will only show the water type and a button to install an engine. Otherwise, it will show the water type icon, and I assume how it's being used. We'll have to check that out when we play a game. Water icons pointing to nearby geysers are now automatically shown on the screen when selecting a geyser in the construction menu, similar to the way that nodes and camps work. Geyser pumps now show water production times and stars. They remove some unnecessary text from geyser tooltips to make it easier to read and eliminate weird world building. Oh boy, I can imagine. Beyond that, it's a large amount of bug fixes, as usual. I'm not going to read through those, but if you have experienced bugs, check the patch notes to see if you have experienced if any of the bugs you've experienced have been fixed. If not, make sure you report them. There's additional music added to the game. They've tweaked some volume levels for balance of sound. And the final thing, the fifth race. Perhaps the most important thing in some people's minds. The fifth race, we have a choice between frogs, bats, and foxes. Frogs, a resilient and strong species that seems to really enjoy the rain. They specialize in the use of hydraulics and dealing with toxic substances. Bats, a fierce and aggressive species augmented by Rainpunk technology. They specialize in dealing with infused rainwater and have a love for brawling and luxury. Foxes, a majestic species living in symbiotic relationship with Blightrot. They possess a strong affinity to the forest and feel at home in the wilderness. If you own the game, you simply need to launch the game and click on that button, and then vote for the race you would like to vote for. You have, as of this recording, 6 days left. I believe that will put it somewhere around, it's probably a week, it's probably 6 days and something, but it's good that it's a little low. So if you are watching this video on the night it's released, or in the next couple of days, make sure you launch the game and vote if you have a strong preference for which race we should see next in the game. If you have any questions or comments for me, please leave those in the comment section below, or come to my Discord and have a chat with me about Against the Storm, other games, or anything else for that matter. We have a fairly active community that talks about more often non-gaming stuff than gaming stuff, but we can always talk about gaming stuff. Thank you all for joining me, and I will see you all next time. Bye for now.